So now that I've got some free time in the schedule, I'm going to install my 3100 module, which is this module right here. It's going to go inside the console. I have already pulled the transducer, which is the fish reveal transducer, into my stern, or back from the stern. And what I did is I pulled the old side imaging transducer out, and when I pulled it back, one little trick you might not do if you're replacing transducers, I put my snake on there, which is a fish tape, okay, and I pulled it back. I attached it to the wire first, and then I pulled my tape back, and that way the tape was already in place to pull this new transducer wire forward. It saves so much time. So hopefully that's a little tip that you can use. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get started here. I'm gonna take and start cutting up on this stuff. I don't know, we'll see. I'll move the camera a little bit and see if I can show you what I've got to deal with. I've got a large NEMA bus in here. Okay, there's the NEMA bus. So that's got to be cut out open so I can access more wires. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to relocate those two bus blocks right there. Okay, hopefully that video comes out. So those are going to get relocated. Then I've got to also locate my wire for my accessory switch, which is in this bundle in the back here. It's probably hard to see. And what I want to do is I want to use the accessory switch, okay, which is that switch right here. This is what I'm going to use to control the S3100 module. That'll be on its wake-up wire. We're gonna cut these wires. I've already partially cut back, or actually cut back most of the NEMA bus. I've got the NEMA bus that runs either to the bow or to the stern, really blocking me on distance-wise. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some mounts. I'm going to take and mount this thing up under here, something along those lines, so I can get it out of the way. It'd be nice if I had enough cable in this distance here to pull it up a little higher. I'm going to see if I can do that. It looks like they actually put an extension on the NEMA bus. But the other thing I really got to do is that I've got one power cable. You can see here, I don't know if it's visible, but the power cable right here is extremely tight. So I'm going to move these two blocks, which are power distribution blocks, over behind this, or where this bundle is right now. I'm going to cut this bundle apart. So let's go ahead and start cutting that apart. The reason I want to cut it apart, these three wires, or these wires, one of these wires is the accessory switch wire that I need to get to. So I'm just going to cut it apart. One thing you want to be careful when you're cutting wires apart, make sure you're only cutting the tie wrap, or the zip tie. One of the, I think it's orange wire with, I forget what color stripe it is. What I'll do is I'll refer to the wiring diagram in the back of the boat, which is nice that the older Rangers has that. Our boats did not have this wiring diagram in the back like all the old Rangers did. So there's our wire bundle. That's the part of the boat wiring. Okay, so what we're looking for is one of these orange wires. It's orange red. Apparently they must have run out of, on my haul, the green capability. So here's the orange blue. There's an orange red. Okay, and then this must be, apparently that must be the orange green. So, but now this wiring is all out, ready to go. So now I can access the accessory switches. And what they've got is these are the grounds. Okay, so this is the ground to that switch here. So we pull those back out. Get them all cleaned out. Again, I tend to pull everything out to make sure it's nice and simple to get to and easy to get to everything. So these are my accessory wires. Okay, so these are the associated grounds that go with those switches, even though you're truly using the boat ground on those. So this is the connection we're going to hook to. We're going to use this to go to our solid state relay for the 3100 module. Okay, so I'm going to pull that out and leave it over here right for now. So now, first thing I'm going to do is I've got to go get out of the boat and go get my drill. I want to relocate these two distribution blocks. Okay, they're going to go over here as far as I can put them. and that way they're out of the way, but I also have now a lot more slack on this one wire. When I pulled my console off, okay, I took and did a quick tie wrap on all these cables. All these cables are labeled, okay, but I used my old cable label styles. And what I've got is I've got the new style, and the new style is going to be a wraparound. I'll tell you exactly where they go, what they are. Okay. So what I'm going to do is once I get my labels out of the house, I'll bring them out here. I'll clean these cables off first, and then I'll wrap them with the labels. Okay. And then we're going to take, because this is for the left unit, what I'm going to do is on the sonar module. Okay. Sonar module has two sonar ports. One is the what's called sonar 2, which is the imaging. This is your side imaging. It's the black plug. There's sonar 1, which is the blue plug. On my boat, when they built it, okay, what I did is I told them I didn't want the side imaging transducer because I knew I was going to put it not where they wanted, not where Ranger normally puts it, which is on the hull. I mount mine on the jack plate. And the other thing is I knew over time this transducer would get changed. I have two in-hull transducers in this boat. First one is what I normally run with, which is the one over here on this right bundle, which is on my right console unit, which is this setup here. The other one is this left one, and this one is really not used at all. I just keep it as a backup just in case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this sonar and plug it into this module, and then I'm going to take and disable the sonar capability on that left unit. And the reason I'm going to do that is it's now going to let me run concurrently two different sonars in the hull. So I can run, say, one at high chirp, and then say maybe run one at either 83 kilohertz or 200 kilohertz to give me different coverages. And so I can see different things, because I have noticed with different frequencies and settings, you can definitely get different things. The other thing that I got to connect the power in, Ethernet. Okay, my Ethernet's going to go into my hub down below. I'll show you what that looks like, but basically I have a net box on this boat, and that's my network hub, so everything's going to get plugged in to that. Well, I've got the console here all ready to go, and so what I've got, I'll show you what I did to it. First I mounted that 3100 module, which is this module right here, okay. Into the back I used some starboard material, or HPDE. Sorry, HDPE. I always get that backwards. Sorry about that. Okay, that's for that. So that's actually bolted to the console itself. I moved these two terminal blocks over. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, those are the two terminal blocks I moved over. I also reworked the NEMA bus. I mounted the NEMA bus up on the console here. Ranger had provided these weld mounts for it, for the tie wraps, or zip ties. What I also did is I reworked my NEMA bus. I put the two NEMA cables that go to the units on the outside, so they're closer to where they're actually going to go. So that cleaned that up a lot. I then tidied up a lot of the cables. So we got the solid state relay here. I tied that into the ACC1 switch. Okay, that's the ACC1 switch wire there, which is the orange blue stripe. And so that works. Let me show you how that works. Let me power this up. And what I did before I got too far with this, I was checking this accessory switch component. I just powered the boat up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the accessory switch on. Okay, just like that. So now you see it blue on the top. Now we come over here, you should see the red LED lit up. Okay, so what we have now is the module itself was on a red power strip, and it's now turned green. Okay, and now we can see that the transducer lights are starting to light up eventually. Yeah, they're lit up now. It's just a little hard to see in this daylight. So what I've got on this boat is I have, which is a little bit different than most boats, this one actually has two transducers in the hull. So what I've got is I've got one transducer, which is this transducer. This one will plug into my right console unit. You can see where I got it labeled here, okay, which is right there. So that's my console right transducer, okay. And then I got my left transducer, which I originally had it plugged into the left console unit. What I'm gonna did is I plugged that into this module, okay. And then I plugged the new 3-in-1 fish reveal transducer into the side imaging port, which is this port here. So this is the in-hull transducer, and this is the side scan transducer. Okay, so everything's hooked up. I also covered the NEMA, or actually the new network bus, which is a gigabit stuff. I'm hoping they come out with something like that soon. Okay, so that's basically a look at the console. So what I've got is I've got all my wires laid on each side. So these are the wires for the right console, and these are the wires for the left console. This is a look under my console. This is my fuse block. I haven't labeled it yet, but I'll be doing that. I ended up using all 6 positions because I have the right console, left console, my net box, which is this module right here, and this is my network port. So I have 5 devices on it, and the last device I just added was the S3100 module. So that's it. This box is controlled by the left console unit. So when the left console unit is turned on, the network hub is turned on. Basically, I went back and forth whether or not using the accessory switch, and I decided what the heck, I'll just have it. So because I always turn all my units on anyway, so it doesn't really matter. A couple things I did is I put some some mounts here with zip ties to basically tie up the cables or eliminate all the stress off these cables here. This is the only one I'm going to take and just probably put a tie wrapper or a zip tie on it, a couple. I just don't like cables hanging like that. So that'll get tidied up. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take and put my dual mount back in place. And what I'm also doing is I'm replacing the brackets. These brackets here are the original Bass Boat Technology brackets, gimbal mounts, okay? And they worked pretty well, and it's a good idea at the time, and they're reasonably solid, but I've gone to the newer ones. Again, since I'm now finally getting a chance to work on my boat, I'm adding everything I've been collecting over the years to put on it for change. So this is ready to go in. I'll go ahead and get it in. One tip I can say about this putting a panel back in, since you're going into fiberglass with these stainless screws, always use a hand screwdriver, okay, a manual screwdriver. Put your screws in part way, make sure you got the threads started before you use the drill gun. Okay, I use a DeWalt. I've got this thing set on a number 7 setting, so I've got a pretty good slip on it. So when I put a screw in, I basically run it in until it stops, and the clutch will engage. So you can hear that click. Okay, once it clicks 1 or 2 times, I know I'm done. Okay, so now I'll go ahead, I'll get everything else done, and then show you what else I'm doing to it. Guys, we're all done. Let me give you a little look here. So there's the back side. I put the new connectors in. What I want to emphasize really is make sure you put these 2 covers. If you're not using a plug or connector on the back of these units, make sure you cover them up. You don't want to ruin your unit and create an issue, okay? And because I pulled the sonar from this left console unit and put it to the 3100 box, I had to cover this one. Same thing over there, is I had to cover up the side imaging port as well. Okay, so now we're all ready. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna power it up and give it a shot. Okay, what I did is I turned the right unit on first, because the right unit is the one that is going to be synchronized with the 3100 module, because it has a transducer, which is one of the internal sonar transducers connected to it. So the first thing I want to do is make sure the 3100 is off. So I'm going to go to my pages button and hit settings, scroll up over here to power control. Okay, see that? And I'm going to change turn ping sync on and save that. Okay, now what I can do is I can go ahead and turn on my 3100 module, and everything will be good. So what I have to do now is I have to turn on my left console or port unit, okay? And that will turn on my network hub. Once I turn the network hub, then I'll see whether or not I want to say use the Navionics chip, and now I'll see the network capability here. So now we should be able to see our source. So now what I want to do is I want to change the source on this unit to the 3-in-1 FR, okay? So that's my new side imaging for this unit, okay? You notice it comes up stopped, okay? And the reason it comes up stopped is that's the way the the software updates work. So what I do is I go into advanced, I go into more options. I can never remember which to do it. So anyway, more options, turn on stop sonar, turn that off basically, and now the sonar should be rolling. Okay. So since we're out of the water, who knows what's going on with this thing. So right now it defaults to 455 kilohertz. I'm going to run, see now we're running, okay. It took a moment for it to pick it up. So if there's a slight delay between initially configuring this thing and starting to see data, that's what happens. So that's normal. So I'm going to switch over to 1075 kilohertz, and you notice again color change exactly like we were seeing. And I'm getting I do auto ranging, so who knows what's going on. Things we're in 70 feet of water. It's just kind of weird. Okay, so now that's set up. Once I set up the side scan, now down scan should also be set up. You see the same source there. My source is the fish reveal as well, so everything looks good there. What I've got to do is my water temperature is not correct, not set up over here, so we'll set that up in a moment. But on the sonar page, okay, what I want to do is I want to make sure that the source on this is coming from console right, which is this unit. Okay, you can also see now I have the fish reveal transducer and I have channel 1. Channel 1 is that sonar that I had on the left unit, so now I have the option of doing that. Okay, these are the settings I end up with for my right console unit. I have channel 1 turned on, channel 2 turned off, because this unit still has a sonar directly connected to it, whereas the left unit does not. Okay, and then I have the network turned on, multi-source turned on. Make sure multi-source is on, otherwise you get some issues with the legacy mode stuff. In this case, I have the network depth and temperature data disabled. It was enabled on the left unit because I have to get everything on that unit from the network, but on this unit it's local. So let's scroll up on the network here, and we look at my data sources again. If I look under sonar, I've got water temperature, again scoped local, very important scoping at local. And again, the reason is I want to use a different temperature source when I'm on the bow. So and then I look at my depth source, it's coming from channel 1 right here. Okay, so that's what we want. We want channel 1. Oops, we don't want it coming off this PDWBL, which is the channel 1 on the 3100 module. So okay, so that's the setup I have for my sonar. Okay, this is the left console unit here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to show you the settings that I ended up with. So if we come over to the pages button here, okay, now I'm going to go to settings, and I'm going to look at the sonar setup. Okay, this unit used to have a sonar connected to channel 1. That channel 1 sonar is now connected into the 3100 module. So what I did is I turned off both internal sonars. I have network sonar turned on so I can receive everything. I have this mode set to multi-source. If you look down below here, it says use network depth and temperature data coming from the fish reveal transducer. So that's the settings that I have for this unit. Now what's kind of interesting is if you scroll over to network right here, and we go to data sources, and we look at sonar. Now sonar, I've got water temperature local, but if I look at my data sources that are available for the temperature, you'll see I only have my in-hole transducer. So even after I did the update on the 3100 module, I still don't have temperature coming across the network. So I'm using the in-hole transducer until there's an update for it. So the depth, that's set local, okay? Because on my bow, I'm going to be using the temperature set probe on the trolling motor itself. Okay, then the depth is obviously set to local, and it's set to channel 1 on the sonar. Okay, so that's the data set, that's set up for the sonar. So now if I come over to my, actually we go to side scan page, you can see my source is now set to console right. And the reason it did that is that when this unit came up, For some reason I didn't have the 3100 module turned on, and it just defaulted to this console write. But the console write is not a valid source. Okay, I'm going back to the fish reveal. Okay, so that's the fish reveal setup. So this is the setup I've got for basically my default stuff. I got it set to the high frequency, everything else fish reveal. I'll let the fish reveal options be standard. Okay, I have it also, it's turned on. That's under, I believe, nope, that's under advanced. I can never remember which one's under which settings. So basically fish reveal is usually under, yeah, it's right here. I was right, correct, the first time. So fish reveal is turned on, and that's by default. So, all right, so those are the settings I've got for my left unit. Now guys, I got the 3100 module completely installed. I redid the Bass Boat Tech brackets. So now I'm all ready to get back on the water. I did a little bit of initial configuration, which I showed you. I still got to do a little bit of tweaking on the water to figure out why I can't get a temperature out of the 3100 module. The other thing I need to do is also do a run and the update on the module itself. Make sure that it's completely up to date. Even though it says it's running 23.3, I don't know what subversion it's actually running, so I'm going to check that out. So anyway, hope you made it through the video here. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up down below. If you want to see more videos like this, give me, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I've got a bunch of videos planned coming up on both upgrading boats, installing new stuff on other boats, not just my boat finally, and then I've also got some stuff, a lot of stuff I've got planned on the water and how it can affect your fishing and your on the water boat time. Okay, make it a lot simpler for you. All right, thanks for watching, appreciate it. Goodbye.